You're listening to Becoming More Me, the podcast for high-achieving entrepreneurs and professionals who want to be more and do less. And in this busy-minded world, there's a lot of distractions and a lot of ways that can feel really complicated. So today I want to share with you some things that will really help to shift your mindset, because our thoughts do indeed become things. So today I'm actually sharing with you a coaching session that I provided when my book was launched. So if you're not familiar with my book, Becoming More Me, Tapping into Success, Subconscious Secrets of an ADHD Entrepreneurial Mom, it came out in November of 2023. So at this point, a year and 4 months ago. And the things that I've seen happen with people who have read the book since then have been amazing. There's a lot of actionable exercises within the book. And then in addition to the book itself, there's a whole module that people who have the book or are in my school community have access to that has audios for hypnotherapy, EFT tapping, and then there's an entire 8-week free coaching program over in my community. So the first thing you might want to do as you're digging into listening to this episode is to go and become a member, if you're not already, of my completely free community on School. And that's SKOOL, not the traditional spelling of school. So all you're going to need to do is go to www.school.com/discovery. And from there, you're going to type in my name. So Teresa Lear Levine in the search. And there you'll see the Becoming More Me group. So it'll populate for you. You can click on it and then you can request to join. Just need to fill out some very basic information that takes you about 10 seconds and then submit your request to join. Requests are normally reviewed and accepted anywhere from a few minutes after you request to 24 hours after you request. So definitely keep that in mind. You'll get an email once you're admitted into the group, and then I'll be reaching out to just find out more about you and be able to point you to the right resources in there that are really going to help you, because there's tens of thousands of dollars worth of resources that are available absolutely free in there. And I know that there's something in there that could help you make a breakthrough that perhaps you are struggling or feeling challenged by right now. So one of the things you're going to find in the classroom is this 8-week coaching program that goes along with my book. It's an awesome asset because we get to go deeper into a lot of the subjects. And the reason I wanted to share this particular coaching session from the coaching program today is because in March, I'm going to be doing an awesome workshop called From Survival to Abundance, Healing Your Relationship with Receiving. And it's going to be an EFT-based workshop where we are going to be clearing subconscious money blocks, releasing scarcity patterns, and expanding your ability to receive not only with ease, but with pleasure. So if that interests you, definitely go to teresalearlevine.org/workshop, and you will be able to register for that workshop, which is going to be taking place on Friday, March 14th. And if for some reason you can't make it live, and I highly recommend if you have any way to make it live, come live, because I custom tailor the coaching and advice that I give in these workshops to the attendees, their questions and their situations. So definitely a benefit to coming live. But if you can't make it live and you have registered, you will get premier access to the replay, which is a limited time replay. So there's the information you need there. Enjoy this coaching session, which is really all about helping you to shift the, flip the switch on scarcity and really sprout seeds of consciousness in yourself so that you can take things to the next level in your life, in your business, in your relationships, with your health, all of the things. So enjoy this coaching and know that when you're done this and when you've entered the Becoming More Me group on School, there is a whole post that goes along with this. And I'll link it in the show notes, the Q&A post, where you can actually answer some questions about this coaching and have me respond and give you coaching based on your answers. So really cool way to get interactive and get essentially one-on-one help from me, absolutely free, and learn more about flipping your switch from scarcity to abundance. So without further ado, please enjoy this coaching session, and I am just rooting for you as you flip your switch. It all starts now. Hey everybody, welcome to week 3 of this free 8-week coaching program in honor of the launch of Becoming More Me, Tapping into Success, Subconscious Secrets of an ADHD Entrepreneurial Mom. I'm having fun with this so far. Are you? I mean, for those of you who have been watching this since the beginning, and if you haven't, go catch up. These are not like a chronological order. You have to do it in a certain way kind of trainings. But, we're going through the book together, and you haven't read the book yet, and it doesn't matter because we're going deeper into things that maybe I touch upon lightly in the book, or we're going into different aspects of things. So this coaching is meant to be completely complementary to what you're going to read when the book is launched. And I love this because as a recovering perfectionist, of course, when I'm writing the book, and especially after like that window has closed and we're in editing and we're no longer writing, I often feel like, oh, I wish I'd had a chance to talk about this, or, oh, I could have gone deeper into that, or I totally forgot this. And no one will ever know that it's not as complete as I might have liked it to be, or that I had a thought that wasn't in there. And God's honest truth, some of the stuff just isn't even necessary. But, you have these thoughts. So it's so nice to have an opportunity like this to just deep dive into different things, explore things, and share extra with you guys. So last week, we talked about procrastination. And we all know that we procrastinate, and you know that I procrastinate, and that we're all kind of doing the best we can with what we know. And that's always the case, I feel like, for us in our lives. Even when we up level, we're doing the best we know how to do at that time, because there's up levelings and deepeners and all sorts of things that happen throughout our life that let us know that, oh, hey, guess what? I didn't know that then. I know that now. And then we get to just use things in a different way. That's going to happen for the rest of our lives. And it's a blessing in so many ways. So this week, we're going to get into, as we move forward in the book, these like seeds of consciousness that we have in our lives. And for me, the seeds of consciousness that created the pivot that has now becoming more me, this business that I now have, this type of coaching that I now do, and for which I, wrote this book mainly, was back in 2017. So that is when my family expanded from having, 3 boys to having 4 boys. And it was a time of a lot of heightened overwhelm, anxiety, and lack mindset on my part. I've always liked to think of myself as somebody who looks at the positive and everything else. But during that time, I wasn't really allowing the negative the voice that it needed to move, to be acknowledged, and to let the true positive feelings have a home in me, a real home in me, and feel like they were part of me. So it always kind of felt like I was trying to, put some icing on top of like a crap cupcake instead of like genuinely have something delicious, which was my life. And it was. And that's the thing too. Like, especially when we read people's books or we hear people's stories, so often things can appear as if our life is this before and after story. And it's not. I mean, even though in my book, I'm going to tell you like the down and dirty about how I was feeling and my negativity and the things that were going on or weren't going on in my life at that time, my life was really good on so many levels. And I had so many abundant blessings. And I think that is where and why the pivot was so important, because it was like this unmatched frequency where I knew that this abundantly blessed life shouldn't feel so crappy and lacking. And having this realization, this seed of consciousness, that all of that change that I needed was inside of me, wasn't out there somewhere. I wasn't, one certification away, one workshop away, one degree away, one thing I hadn't learned yet away from that change. I already actually had every bit of it I needed inside of me. And I just needed to learn how to use it and leverage it so that I would feel better. And that for me was how I ended up using nervous system regulation and hypnotherapy to weave my way into that next level. Again, not the after, just the continuation. It's never a before and after, you know? And there's nothing like reality to let us know that, especially with things like, like weight loss and things like that. Of course, we can have like a before we did a program, or before we lost some weight, or before whatever, and an after, but then life goes on after that. And, how many times do we see people, either continue, get stronger, get fitter, get to that next level, or even have, a time when they change, they put on weight again, or they have an injury, they have a setback, they have a challenge. It's never a before and after. We always are working through challenges and setbacks. We always are up leveling in new ways that make us stronger. So I think that's really important, because so many of us tend to look for like, we're going for the finish line, and we miss out on life going for the finish line because we think that there's this place that we're going to arrive at when it's all done. And then, and only then, in the case of people like me with high functioning anxiety, then we'll relax, then we'll enjoy it, you know? And that's what happens all too often. I mean, dare I say, it never actually occurred to me back in those days that slowing down would benefit me. And I talk about how slow is the new fast a lot in this book, because it's through slowing down, it's through feeling our feelings, it's through the white space in our calendar, and the time that we allow ourselves to be. We allow our self-trust to expand. We allow ourselves to be held by, whatever you want to call it, the universe, God, what have you, and just be, that we actually can create so much more in our lives than if we're just doing and trying to knock things off the to-do list. And it just never occurred to me that that was actually a beautiful way to get through it that I hadn't done before. So instead, when I was going through this time before the pivot, and again, not before and after, because I still have times when I do this, I just catch myself a lot better now. That's the whole thing, right? We develop resiliency. We develop these seeds of consciousness into larger things and better responses instead of reactions, and more capability to respond in the ways that we want to than we used to have. So that voice in my head as I was trying to grow my business all those years ago, and at the time, coaching and nutrition and fitness, and knowing that there was so much good I was going to do. And boy, I really did. The voice in my head was one of like, oh my God, it's going to be so hard. And I'm so tired, and I'm so disorganized, and my plans always get disrupted because I've got 4 kids, and like all it takes is one of them wanting a snack or a drink, or falling down and getting a boo-boo, or being too tired to get along with their siblings. And then my attention's needed, my care is needed. I can't do these other things. Like, how am I ever going to accomplish all of these big plans that I want? Because in my head, I had this idea that I was already behind and I needed to catch up, and lack. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't take a law of attraction coach, which I have become since then, because out of necessity, I needed to understand those things better for myself and for others. It doesn't take a law of attraction coach to tell you, like, my focus was the lack. And when you focus on, well, whatever you focus on, you get more of it. And that's kind of the basis of the law of attraction, that, what we focus on, we create. So I had this very lack mindset, and it definitely was not serving me. And not only that, but if you've experienced this, and I want you to think about that. I want you to think about where your lack mindset comes in, where your scarcity mindset comes in, where you allow fear to start being that internal voice of your inner critic instead of love and belief. Okay? So that's kind of our first question to kind of look at. Like, where are you letting scarcity mindset, lack mindset kind of run the show for you? Because this is the very stuff that's going to rob you, as it did for me, of the ability to get present and to fully experience peace, pleasure, joy, and relaxation. So I just want you to feel into that. Like, where do you need to kind of flip things around so that you can feel more secure, more abundant, more able and more like things are available to you in your life? Where does that switch need to be flipped in your current narratives? Not flipping that switch and having this recurring, what I keep calling this Groundhog Day of recurring unwanted outcomes, which is totally a reference to the Bill Murray movie. That was kind of the hell I was in, like, because I just kept having these days over and over again where I essentially let all the blessings and abundance in my life become the enemy as I strived to check things off of a to-do list that didn't really fulfill me anyway. Isn't that crazy? Are you doing this also? I know I'm not alone here. Like, I know I didn't write this book because I'm the only one doing this. So yeah, it's a cycle, and we're going to talk about cycles a lot. It's a big part of life, but I didn't understand my cycles. I was out of touch with my sensations. I was out of touch with all of that, like, innate intelligence that really helps to guide us to what we really want in this world. Here's the problem with that, is that when we avoid that stuff and we don't feel that stuff, it doesn't mean that it's not happening. It just usually tends to manifest as something worse. So I noticed a lot of body aches and pains that resurfaced during that time. And even to this day, when I'm not like honoring my energy, when I'm not fully allowing myself to feel my feelings, I will feel pain like in my hips and in other areas that are associated with like the lower chakras in my body, where a lot of my, earlier in life wounding that has not fully been healed yet, things that maybe I haven't addressed yet, still kind of crop up and remind me, oh, hey, work on that next time. Okay, Teresa? I'm like, all right, cool. I hear ya. I hear ya. Because every time I do, my body feels better, so much less pain in my body than I used to have when I was avoiding it. And we live in this world and society where everybody talks about authenticity and integrity and showing up as we are and being ourselves. But when we're not doing that, sometimes other people don't know that we're putting on the front. Sometimes we don't even know that we're putting on the front. And we have to learn how to gauge, like, what is truly authentically ourselves. It's part of the reason why I showed up today like in a sweatshirt. It's like part of me was like, okay, so I'm gonna record this. I could go get dressed up and put my makeup on, but you know what, I'm recording this in advance. I'm recording it on the weekend. It's been raining here all morning. It's cold. It's like soup weather here with tropical stormophilia coming through. This is how I roll on the weekends. I'll be snuggling up with my kids watching a movie in a bit. I don't need to go put makeup on to impress you guys. I want you to know who I am, just as when I work with people and when you submit your answers and things to me as you work through this coaching program, I genuinely want to know who you are. It doesn't do any of us any good to mask this stuff. So, here I didn't even turn my light on. Look so much better now, don't I? I don't even have my light on until now. I will give you that. I don't need to be like in the darkness here. But, just it's so important to be ourselves. And my main point is here that sometimes we think we're presenting ourselves and even we're hiding it from ourselves because we've become so accustomed to putting a different face forward, or we've thought that we've taken on like a character to play, kind of not realizing that we're allowed to change that character at any time based on what feels aligned to us. So this was essentially like the place that I was in my life when I was blessed with this opportunity to get away for a weekend and go to an EFT workshop. And I write a whole chapter about this in the book because it's a story worth telling, because the timing is divine. EFT as a form of nervous system regulation and as a way to change basically anything that we can feel is something that had presented itself to me multiple times in my life prior to the retreat, where I finally was like, oh my God, I got to learn more about this. But it was the timing. It was the whole idea of like, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. That, when we're not ready, when those seeds of consciousness have not been acknowledged and we haven't leveled with ourselves about where we are and where we're headed, our purpose, our why, all of that, then we're not ready for it. And I was totally ready for it when I entered this workshop about EFT, and I was so grateful. for that divine timing, because it literally changed everything in my own personal life, the way I parented, changed things in my marriage, definitely changed my business because I pivoted to a business where I focused on that modality. Before I brought in hypnotherapy, my main focus was EFT for a while. And it changed the way I helped everyone. But, first it changed me. And that's really the big thing, and in a world where we can only change ourselves, I feel like it's very important to lead by example. If I'm going to tell people like, hey, these are the modalities I like to use, or this is the way I like to help people, it's the way I still help myself. As I first learned EFT, I was like an everyday guinea pig for myself on all sorts of things. And that developed my own trust in the technique, my own confidence in the technique, and everything else. And then as I started, helping all sorts of other people with it, it was amazing to see all the different ways that it could be applied, ways that I couldn't apply it to myself because they were situations or memories or traumas that I didn't live through. These other people did. And we had this beautiful, beautiful, non-re-traumatizing, gentle way to work through anything that somebody brought to a session with me. And it was like, and it's still to this day, when I have client sessions, I walk away like, wow, like what just happened? What did I just get to be part of? Because it's absolutely beautiful transformation. So while my book and the chapters that we're talking about at this point actually will walk you through like how to do EFT tapping, why it works, all sorts of other things, I have a ton of resources that in the meantime, or in addition to reading the book, that you can also implement. So for instance, within this, this group here on School, you have the private sessions. There's upwards of, at the time I'm recording this, like 60 different private EFT sessions that I have done with different podcast hosts over the last couple of years. And all of those have expert tips in them. They have advice and they show you how to do the technique. There's nothing like doing the technique to learn how to understand it better and apply it to yourself. And that's why also within the book, I'm providing a lot of video resources and audio resources to enrich the reading, because I do think that if you're going to get a result here, you have to actually, do some tapping, do the thing with me, work on some things that are bothering you. But while you wait for that, I encourage you, and this is part of your homework for this week. I want you to explore emotional freedom techniques. If you haven't done it already, or even if you have, I want you to go into the private sessions resource, and I'll link it here also. But literally just in the classroom, the private sessions, click on it, and there's a little video about it. And then if you scroll down, there's actually like the PDF that you can get. It's enormous, and it gets updated all the time, guys. So if the resource that you like literally open it up every couple of weeks. I put new sessions in it every time I'm on somebody's podcast and we do one of these together. I recorded 3 of them this week that'll go up in the next couple of weeks. So, and they're always on like great new topics. So what I want you to do is I want you to go into that private sessions, into that private sessions resource, and I want you to pick a topic that resonates with you. So everyone has like a description, like, EFT for procrastination, EFT for, body confidence, EFT for anxiety. Yeah, there's all different things. So pick one that you're like, ooh, I've got some of that going on in my life right now. Do the session, personalize it in any way that you need to. Rate yourself at the beginning and the end. I describe how to do all of this in the video, so you don't need to actually listen to me right now. You just need to go over to the private sessions, choose one that resonates with you, and do it. And then I want you to report back about which one you chose and how it went for you in the week 3 homework, which will be posted in the general discussion area on this site. All right. So thanks for being here with me this week. Excited to bring you more awesome stuff next week. And very shortly, I'm going to be heading into the recording studio to start getting the Audible version of the book recorded. I'm super stoked about that. I've never recorded anything in a recording studio before. So that's going to be a fun new experience. I'm just going to try to get my voice all saved up so that I can talk and read for a couple of days straight and get it all out there. But that for me is the most exciting part of this book creation, because I listen to everything on Audible. I rarely ever actually pick up a book. But I'm excited about all the versions with this. I'm excited about being able to sign copies for people. I'm excited about people listening to it. I know a lot of people actually like to read a book and listen, and that's a great way of really driving home things that you're reading. in fact, I know it's a great like speed reading tip. If you can actually like listen to the audio and follow along with your eyes, knowing that like with Audible, you can also increase speed if you want to or need to, the retention is way better. I do that sometimes. So that's definitely a tip if you're having trouble like retaining things or you really want to get the most out of it. Using both an audio and a printed version of the material that you're trying to learn is really, really helpful. All right, guys, thanks for being here this week. I'm excited to bring you another coaching lesson next week. And I'm always excited to read your answers to the questions that get posted about these videos. So have at it. Talk to you soon. Thanks for spending some of your precious time with me today. If you loved this episode, please leave a review or simply share it with someone else who would get great benefit from it too. If you share on social media, please tag me so I can personally connect and thank you. Until next time, keep taking bold and brave steps towards becoming more of who you want to be in this world. You are capable, you are worthy, and you are enough. And if your inner critic is still trying to argue with those facts, hit me up. We've got work to do.